Sydney Sweeney is in the news. Are you looking for Sydney Sweeney? Do you want to know who she is? We'll talk about that today on Mirror Domain's Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines. Guys, if you are a fan of movie news, pay attention to this show because we'll talk about all the big movie news headlines out there today. And we're going to try something just a little bit different today. We are going to go over to the Google site and we're going to take a look at some trending headlines. And we're going to tie this into movie news by looking at what's trending out there in the realm of, well, Google searches. Top Google headlines. Morbius is trending. Okay, well, April Fool's pranks also. Well, yeah, it's past noon hour now, so we're not going to be looking at that. The Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo has led them to a victory last night. Okay, Skippy Peanut Butter recalled. Oh, Lauren Handy. What's all this stuff? Bobby Wagner. No, okay, now this stuff isn't related to movies. Selena Quintanilla, Toyota. But I'll do my best to try to wrap this into movie news. And we might as well start off by looking at one of the big headlines here from this list. Sydney Sweeney shares her grandmother's reaction. What's this all about? Sydney Sweeney was on Ellen the other day, and she shares her grandmother's reaction to her risque Euphoria nude scenes. Wow, there's some nudity in Euphoria? I'm going to have to check this series out. Sydney Sweeney told Ellen on Thursday that her grandmother said, "You have the best," that word, in Hollywood. So she's got some great assets, according to her grandmother. Fascinating. Sydney Sweeney. When you look at her, you get that visceral reaction that she's got the talents. I guess her family's okay with it. But yeah, she was on there on Ellen the other day talking about her appearances in Euphoria. And apparently, yes, there are some nude scenes in there for people wanting to know, and her grandmother weighed in. You know, I guess you ask about your family member knowing that stuff, so go over and watch that clip on Ellen. I felt like that's fairly interesting. So how do I tie this Google search into what alien creature found on beach? We'll have to take a look at that. How do I tie Sydney Sweeney into what our movie news realm is? Let's take a look. We know that she's going to be possibly playing Black Cat in the upcoming Madame Web movie that just got announced with Dakota Johnson coming in. Now, I think that's great casting, actually. When you look at her, let's blow that up a little bit. It does look like she could pull off that character, and not just because of her figure. Let's not get gross here with this. I know that the headline, it's juicy and it's meant to hook people in, but let's not get gross here. Looking at her like demeanor and such, she could play this character, Black Cat. And if this Madame Web that's coming down the pipe is like a villain from Spider-Man with Dakota Johnson playing the lead role, I think that's cool, man. That's awesome. That's great. That's cool. What do you guys think about this little bit of news from Sydney Sweeney, possibly playing the one role in the Madame Web movie? And of course, that big, huge, juicy quote there. Let's just take a quick look at her IMDb here. Sydney Sweeney. Just so some people out there may not know who she is, she's in Euphoria with Zendaya. I love Zendaya. I got to check that out. I really do, but it's on HBO Max and I don't have that. So, National Anthem. She's going to be in an upcoming movie called National Anthem. Robot Chicken she's appeared on. Euphoria. Night Teeth. Wasn't that on Netflix? Speaking about Netflix, we got to talk about that later on in the show too, with Kathryn Bigalow. Strawberry Spring, The Voyeurs. Okay, so she's got a rather long and impressive resume for such a young actress. And Sydney Sweeney, definitely. I'm going to be on board for that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. You're watching Mirror Domain's Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines, where we actually do talk about the headlines, and I'll try to go through them quickly just like that. So we just talked about Sydney Sweeney. What else is out there in the Headlines, Morbius. We saw from the Google Trends there that Morbius reviews are out. We'll take a look at the tomato meter as well, and I'll talk about that movie. And we'll take a look at the various Google headlines out there, trending headlines. Jim Carrey is going to be announced. Well, he's announcing that he's going to retire. What? I don't know about that. Sort of retirement. Kathryn Bigalow joins Netflix, so she's going to make a thriller for Netflix. Cool. The Razzies have made a whole bunch of retractions in light of what happened with Bruce Willis's retirement, so we'll talk about that. Jackass 4.5. Oh, this sounds interesting. We got some hints as to what some of the deleted scenes are going to be in that. Batgirl Wraps, tying it back to Morbius. We're going to talk about that story too. Mandalorian Season 3 also has wrapped, and we'll take a look at the Twitter roundup, and we'll go through all of these headlines as quickly as I can. You'll find that these headlines will be linked in time codes in the description and comment section below. And if you're joining us live in the live chat, I will always talk with you in between the stories. There are my social media handles that you can find me on, where you can see a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff and other things that go on in the realm of movie news. Okay, so let's get right back into it for today. Looking at that Google trend searches, Morbius is number one. And Morbius came out yesterday, so let's take a look at this article that came out on CNBC. Spider-Man spinoff Morbius with Jared Leto is lazy, not good, and totally skippable. Well, we saw that the trending meters for the last week here, we've been talking about Morbius leading up to it, and we saw that the early response was not good, and then when the embargo dropped, it got like a 15% on the tomato meter. Let's take a look at what it is right now. It's 18%. No audience score yet with 102 reviews. Guys, I don't believe this. I thought I saw an audience score out there. So I'm going to refresh that page, and we're going to go back to the CNBC article that just highlights some of the things that people are having problems with. Morbius, starring Jared Leto. Morbius, which premieres Friday, has garnered poor reviews across the board and recently held a 16%. And we'll update that as we go along throughout the day, because we're going to talk about Morbius and Jared Leto. I'm going to try to tie that into other stories, and we'll have fun with this. Many reviews noted that the film did not live up to the promises made in the trailer because they cut out a bunch of the stuff. And from what I heard, it's just a complete mess. Now, I was going to go out and see this yesterday. I got my shoes on and everything, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to go to the show. But then I was like, I watched one review from one of my trusted reviewers online. And I'm like, do I really want to go see a 16% movie? Do I want to spend money? Yeah, 15%. There, I updated it. A 15% movie. 64% audience score by 500 plus verified ratings. Do I want to go and spend $13 on a movie that I hear sucks? No. I'm not going to rush out and go see that. I had other things that I wanted to do, and You Won't Be Alone is going to be one of those for sure. That's a horror movie with Noomi Rapace. She plays a witch of some kind. But Morbius, guys, these ratings, audience score is 64%, and this is where when you see the buzz and the early reviews, and you get things like critics were not impressed with the film's script or special effects, and the deleted scenes apparently are just a mockery, a sham, like the post-credit scenes. I was just like, not only do I not want to sit through an hour and 45 minutes of this, waste my time, I don't want to sit there at the end of that an hour and 45 minutes waiting for some credit scenes that don't really matter to the rest of the movie and don't make sense. You got to trust some of the buzz out there. So I'm not going to prioritize seeing Morbius. I will see it, but I'm not going to prioritize it this weekend simply because of this. And I know that's going to let some of you guys out there down, but, my movie reviews only get 16 to 20 views. So the 16 to 20 of you out there wanting my review for it are going to be let down. And it's mostly because of the tomato meter there. We can... It just reeked of studio interference. The studio had no idea how to handle this property. People were saying that it was throwbacks to like comic book movies from the early 2000s, late 90s, where studios just had no interest in making a serious movie. They just thought, oh, it's schlock, so we'll put some schlock in there. Peter Travers from ABC News says Jared Leto goes the extra mile to bring a minor league villain from, and that's it too. He's not a well-known villain, from Marvel Comics to the big screen. But this botched horror fest about the so-called living vampire is less deserving of a sequel than a stake through its heart. And that's exactly it. It's a minor villain. Morbius, I don't know if he should have ever have gotten a full movie by himself, because if they should be only greenlighting these movies like Morbius, Kraven the Hunter, Madame Web, which we just spoke about, if it's going to be directly tied in to a Spider-Man showdown at some point. So they should have only made this movie knowing for a fact that this was going to lead into a Spider-Man showdown. And I don't need trilogies from Morbius like Ant-Man or Captain Marvel or anything like that. I don't need trilogies from these side projects. I just need something that sets up the character and shows us how he's going to play into this extended universe. And if it's not going to be an extended universe for a minor league villain, I don't need to know about Morbius. I know that bumps people up. That bumps people up a lot, which really, it's not the way that I really wanted to start the day. But we looked at the tomato meter there for Morbius, and it says it all. And if you look at my channel and you see my early buzz reviews, I was tracking this movie all the way up, and it's let me down, man. It's totally let me down. Moving on. Let's take a look at this list again, trending searches. April Fools. Did you guys get caught by any April Fools jokes? I always have trouble negotiating the headlines out there because it's April Fool's Day and some of the headlines are bogus, they're fake, but we can't. Morbius is real, and obviously the ones that I think I've picked out are real. Are you guys basketball fans of the Bucks? March Madness ends this weekend, right? And they're saying that Antetokounmpo there could be the MVP. So I'm going to have to keep my eye on this as the NBA season is rounding down its season. I'm near Toronto, so I'm a Raptors fan. So I know that the NBA, the sports all around has this thing where it's kind of like you can't talk about it without their permission. And okay, whatever. You know what? You can. You should be able to. So let's go on. Skippy Peanut Butter has been recalled. Skippy Peanut Butter? Seriously. Do you like peanut butter? Peanut butter. Recall. Select products recalled from stores because it may contain steel fragments. Steel in peanut butter. Okay, well, I got to check this to make sure if it's not anywhere near me. But I don't use Skippy. I use that no-name brand. But you never know because you got to check these things because Skippy may have a no-name brand that they sell for cheaper brand names, right? The recall notice said that the products were shipped to 18 states, so it's in the U.S. So U.S. only, it doesn't affect me. I'm in Canada, California, Connecticut, and there's a list if you guys want to go and check that out. It's on USA Today, and you want to definitely check out if you have peanut butter allergy or anything like that. Actually, you know what? I want to check out something. Jared Leto. It's just Jared Leto like peanut butter. Jared Leto reveals what's in his refrigerator with a shelfie. What the heck is that? Jared Leto's Twitter. He tweeted, "Oh, the pleasures of peanut butter bumpers for dinner again." And this was December 16th, 2010. 2010, so that's 11 years ago. So apparently Jared Leto does like peanut butter. You should be mindful then and take a note of that. Ooh, Brie Larson. 19 hours ago, working on a fashion griffle. Peanut butter. Okay, you see, not all of these Google headlines are going to tie into stuff. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Stranger Things will debut on the same day. We talked about that yesterday. And that's a new Morbius poster with a cupcake. I don't know what that's going to mean. So not Morbius. Moon Knight. Okay, let's go back to the Google headlines. Let's move on. Lauren Handy. Now, some of these, again, I can't tie these into movies. I'm not going to even talk about this one because it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I read the New York Times article about it. These anti-abortion people are crazy. Absolutely crazy. Toyota has a new vehicle out called the GR Corolla High Performance Hatchback. Are you guys into cars? Now, can I tie this into any kind of movie headline? Toyota. Can I tie this into a movie headline? No, actually, to tell you the truth, I like that look. It's nice, it's small, it's sleek. If you've got got a younger teenager around or something like that. That looks pretty slick. And they build Toyotas near where I live, too. Interesting. I don't know if they build that model or not, but, that's trending here on this list right there, Toyota. Selena. I guess this is the anniversary of her passing. And, there was a movie about her. She was a Latino singer. J-Lo played her. So I can tie that into a movie. And there's been other biographies made of her, and this is the anniversary of her passing on. Now, I can't read this because it's not English, but it's trending. 200,000 views are looking for that. So I think that's all I can tie in for movie stuff, except for this alien creature. I'll take a look at that at the end of the show. I love that kind of stuff, the cryptozoology or whatever it's called. I feel like that's great. Okay, so those are the trending Google headlines. What do you think? Should I try to tie that stuff more into the show? Because I want to be able to hit some flags out there for people to come in and watch this show and just have fun. Talking about some of the headlines. Maybe you want to hear my take on some of these things. I don't mind talking about that anti-abortion stuff, but it doesn't have anything to do with movies, and it gets more into that political realm that just riles people up. And maybe I can do side videos about that, but that's not what the channel is really about. But I do like to keep my eye on the trending headlines. And if I can tie it into a movie somehow, then that's exactly what we'll do. All right. Jim Carrey is out doing press for Sonic 2. And he's fairly serious about retiring from acting. This comes to us from Variety. I have enough. I've done enough, says Jim Carrey. Okay. Well, I guess he's happy. He's like a painter. He's an artist, right? He does like cartoons and such, and he does like actual oil paintings or acrylic paintings of some kind. I can relate to that. Carrey added, I really like my quiet life. I really like putting paint on canvas, and I really love my spiritual life. And I feel like, and this is something you might have never hear from another celebrity as long as time exists. I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough. He is enough. Well, yeah, he's definitely got enough money that he can go off and live the rest of his life living some kind of a recluse up in the mountains, painting weird pictures, chewing his ear off or whatever happens, like, that story from Van Gogh, whatever, hey, if he's done, he's not very definitive on this. It says fairly serious. So I'm sure that he's just going to take a break, which he says in this article. He's going to take a break now and reassess after Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But you know that there's going to be a Sonic 3. So does that mean that Robotnik is going to get killed in Sonic 2? Is that a spoiler? Sonic 2 comes out April 8th, next week, guys. And yeah, so he's out doing the press for that. What do you think? Jim Carrey retiring. Does that make sense? Fuzz in the live chat says, hey, how's it going, man? Hope your Friday's going great. Okay, let's move on. Kathryn Bigalow is definitely one of my favorite directors out there. The Hurt Locker, Point Break with Keanu Reeves, Gary Busey, and the late Patrick Swayze. Kathryn Bigalow heads to Netflix to direct thriller Aurora. Cool. And she is awesome. She's great. Absolutely fantastic. Does this give us any kind of a log line for Aurora? The project titled Aurora is based on the upcoming book by David Koepp, best known for Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, Spider-Man, and more. Aurora follows the events of a solar storm that knocks out most of humanity's power grids and focuses on the personal story of a divorced mother who must now do everything she can to protect her teenaged and her estranged brother. Protect her teenaged and estranged brother. So she's got a teenage brother there somewhere. Okay, that's fine. Huh. Okay. So a solar storm knocks out most of humanity's power grid called Aurora. Kathryn Bigalow, I just read you her resume. So she's definitely got like Academy Award under her belt, right? From Hurt Locker. She's got great action movies like Point Break. So yeah, cool. Netflix has been doing great stuff. And later on today, we are going to be doing a watch-along for The Bubble starring Karen Gillan. We can talk about that now, I suppose. The Bubble dropped on Netflix today. And we did trailer reactions for this. Was it serious? Was it called Cliff Beast 6? We're going to do a watch along in a couple of hours. And it's slated for 2:30, but I might have to push that back to 3 o'clock. I am not too sure yet. I have to run out and do some errands. But if it does, I'll move the timer along. And we'll watch The Bubble this afternoon. And if you haven't watched one of these watch-alongs from me, they're great fun. I put it on the show, and you guys can watch along with your copy. And I put timestamps. I let you guys see scenes from the movie and sounds so you can follow along and know exactly where in the movie I am. It's rated R. Wow, I didn't know that. I guess I did, but rated R. It's kind of like it's about a movie about a movie that's being made during the pandemic, and they have to shut things down, and it's it's kind of like behind the scenes fair that happens in the background while this thing happens. The Bubble. We'll take a look at that later on today. Okay, let's move on. Now this kind of caught me off guard. Well, not really. Let's talk about the Razzies. The Razzies rescind Bruce Willis's worst performance award after his recent diagnosis. And we saw that yesterday. He was retiring, and we talked all about that. So he was diagnosed with this brain condition, so he can't do acting anymore. It affects his ability to process speech, right? From what I understand. So in light of that, I guess people were still making him go out and work, and I guess that's why the Razzies are going to be rescinding that award, because they don't want to make fun of people having conditions. Very topical this week, and we're not going to talk about that subject today. I'm putting my foot down. No, we're not talking about what happened at the Oscars. But we're going to talk about this. The Razzies, does that make them it was a kind of a joke to begin with. It was kind of like the worst. Oh, these are the worst movies of the year. And it was just the most, it's juvenile. And that's why I stopped publishing my top 10, my worst 10 of lists movies of the year. Because do you really want to pay attention to that? I'll put my most disappointing movie and my most worst movie, but I won't do the top 10 lists or anything like that. And the Razzies, they've rescinded these things, which I understand, which is good. And people have come out and tried to put their support towards Bruce Willis, which they should. I just felt like the Razzies are going to take that away. And they're also going to take away Shelley Duvall's from The Shining. So that's decades ago now that the Razzies are reforming their image. And it does kind of make them irrelevant now. Really, truly, it does. And I think that's all I really want to say about that, guys. I'm not going to rag on that one. Let's move on. Jackass 4.5 scenes, deleted scenes teased by the Forever cast. Now, I really did like Jackass 4.5. I felt like it was a nice break from all of the monotony of, the lockdowns and everything like that. We were just getting out of it, and it was just like, it was fun to go back with the legacy cast and seeing the new cast interact with them. It was a good fun time at the movies. People were cheering and laughing and covering their eyes during it. It was great fun. And we know that when they film these types of movies, there's always a 0.5. They film enough to probably make like 2 or 3 movies. And Fuzz in the Life Chat says the worst movie of 2022 is Requiem with Silverstone. Yeah, we talked about that one. So what's going on here? We know that we're going to get a Jackass 4.5 for sure, because there's enough footage there for them to make more than one movie. And I can't wait for this. This is great. There's no actual release date just of yet for when this is, because they're still probably hoping for revenues coming in from Jackass Forever before they release 4.5. And it'll probably be on a streaming service, because there was 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. And they're talking about some of the deleted scenes in here, and they sound like crazy. Danger Aaron says that the movie will contain a scene that did the most long-term damage to his physical being. And that's crazy, seeing that Aaron was the guy that was in the chair when that bear came out and he had honey and salmon all over him. Whew, what a scene. What a scene. And there's something even more dangerous than that. Wow. So there's some big quotes out there from Danger Aaron, Dave England, talking about, no, was it England that got his, Yeah, that's it. Oh, sorry, that was England, right? Steve-O talks about some of the stuff in there. And you know what? I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it doesn't say that when this is going to drop, though, from this article. It just says it's in the works. It's going to drop probably sometime this year. I'm not reading a release date for this, but I really like Jackass Forever. I thought it was one of my more pleasant surprises of the year. And to hear that there's even more juicier stuff in it, there usually is. There usually is. They never let me down. Leslie Grace celebrates Batgirl movie film wrapping with a new set video. Well, this Batgirl movie is going to be straight to the streaming services. So this isn't going to be out. This isn't going to be out in the theater. And after Morbius, the fallout of Morbius is going to be like, yes. I like the set images that we've seen. I like the way that it looked. Okay, so it's just a look behind the scenes there. She's talking on her Instagram. She says it's a wrap. Batgirl is a wrap with Michael Keaton returning as Batman. And they better not relegate Michael Keaton to a post-credit scene like Morbius did, because, oh, my God. Talking about Morbius, it just gets you kind of riled up. And I have the highest hopes for Morbius. I had the highest hopes for this. But all of my enthusiasm, my excitement has been totally drained. And I just don't know if I really want to hype these things up anymore, because I'm let down by Warner Bros. And their whole strategy here. It just bums me out. What doesn't bum me out is The Mandalorian Season 3 has wrapped filming. Cool. Carl Weathers confirms. So Carl Weathers has directed episodes, apparently, or at least one episode in Mandalorian Season 3. And he took to his Twitter there and says, "And what a season of wonderfulness. The Mandalorian Season 3 has wrapped filming. Cool. Costume department. Cool." So we haven't had an announcement yet as to when this will come out. I'm guessing towards the Christmas time this year. If it's in the can now, it's not going to take that long for them to finish. Will debut. Season 3 is now in post-production. We can assume that the show will debut in 2022. It usually came out around the Christmas time, so I'm expecting that about the same too. We know that Christopher Lloyd has joined the cast, and we now know that Grogu is going to be back with Din, the Mandalorian. So, yeah. That makes sense. You got Obi-Wan coming out May 29th, right? That'll run for 6 episodes. Yeah, Mandalorian this fall, late fall, early winter. I see that happening. Cool, man. It's wrapped. It's all in the can. And we'll get some episode titles soon, probably. Hopefully. Okay, so that's pretty much the big, huge movie news headlines. I want to go back to those Google Trend searches and take a look at this story for man finding alien something on the beach. What is this all about? Man finds alien that looks like de-haired possum with claws washed up on Australian beach. Now, this is the kind of like schlocky tabloid thing that you would see on the on the racks when you go grocery shopping. I just find these things comical, because it usually is just an animal that's had all of its hair ripped off, and you can see a picture of it there. Oh, alien. Yeah, it's very alien. No, it looks like a possum that's decayed a bit. Got some little nibblies chewing on it there. But I like the headline, the speculation. And then these articles like to ham it up and juice it up with other so-called cryptids. I like this subject. I like it a lot. I keep my eye on it. I listen to a podcast called Mysterious Universe that's oddly out of Australia. These two guys talk about these kinds of paranormal things, and they're really cool. Mysterious Universe. Shout out. Okay. Anything else? Anything else here in the headlines that is of note? I'd had a page opened up here, but it doesn't seem to be opening up. I guess today is Ugadi for Telugu New Year. If you're a Telugu from Andhra Pradesh, maybe. Yeah, cool. Happy New Year, Telugu people. Let's go to the Twitter Roundup. Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, will be re-released in theaters April 7th, honoring the 25th anniversary. Well, we just talked about Selena in the Google trending headlines. And I feel like that's really cool that I did that. I feel like I got to tweak the show a little bit to get some other people out there to know that there's movie news another new movie news live show out there that I go through the headlines and I don't draw things out for hours on end. So you have to wait for an hour and a half to get to the topic that you want to talk about. That's not what this show is about. Top Gun Maverick will officially premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. Yeah, we knew about that. And I can't wait for that. And that new trailer that dropped looked awesome. Ooh, Tom Holland on the set of Apple Plus TV series, The Crowded Room. Looks like a period piece, eh? Are those bell bottoms? Corduroy bell bottoms? He's got the long hair. Are you a Tom Holland fan? Interesting. Have to keep my eye on that. Okay. It's on Apple Plus. Crowded Room. Daniel Radcliffe. Cool. And yeah, this did get a lot of buzz, 135K. He just said that he didn't want to weigh in on that topic that I wasn't going to talk about today. He didn't want to add his voice to the chorus of people being disappointed. And there were more revelations about that story today, but I'm done talking about it. Advanced screenings of Robert Eggers' The Northman with a live Q&A will take place on April 16th at AMC Theaters. Cool. I'm looking forward to The Northman. It's got to be one of my most anticipated of the year. Okay, so he's just doing some press. Selena Gomez debuts new hairstyle. Wow. She's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I do like her music too. I do have a couple of her albums in my archive. I do like her music and her last album. Not the Spanish one. The one before that. I like that a lot. Okay, so Celine Dion here. I think we're rounding out here. Sam Heughan reveals that he auditioned to the lead role of Superman Returns. So he applied to be a Superman. He sort of got the jaw to be a Superman. Hey, this is the guy that's in Outlander, that series that's on some streaming service. I can't remember. Can you see a little bit of Superman in him? Yeah, I can. Maybe a little bit. Okay. Looks like we're rounding out here. 10 Things I Hate About You. Yeah, we saw that yesterday. The trailer for Duel. Okay, yeah, and this dropped earlier this week too. Duel is a movie that where Karen Gillan, talking about Karen Gillan fans, and this will be a really good spot to end it off. She is having some kind of a sickness, and she has this clone made of her. But I guess in the rules of this universe and society that they live in, she has to have a duel with the clone for the right to survive. And if she loses, she dies. If she wins, then she can harvest the clone's body parts to save herself. It's really weird. But the movie looks like it's more about the build-up to the duel. She gets trained by Aaron Paul there from Breaking Bad. You'll recognize him from Breaking Bad. She trains him or he trains her to fight. And that's what the movie looks like it's mostly about, but I'm a huge Karen Gillan fan. And I did like the trailer. I watched it. It's a big in views, but it's not big enough for me to do a reaction to. So I liked it a lot. And I should have talked about it when it dropped. But I think seeing two Karen Gillans sounds cool, man. So it's going to end with some kind of a duel between these two Karen Gillans. Absolutely fascinating. And that's the way that the movie news has been for Friday, April 1st, 2022. What do you guys think about some of these headlines? And let me know in the comments below, and we'll talk about them. I'll definitely talk about some of these other things for sure with you in the comments. We're going to end this show there today, guys, because later on today we are going to be watching that The Bubble. And I'm not going to have my breakfast. I got to go out and do some errands. And hopefully it will be not that long. I'll be back in time for the 2:30 showing of The Bubble. And if it's not, it'll be moved to 3 o'clock. But I apologize for that. I can't solidify that. The Bubble's coming out later today. We'll do a live watch along. Enjoy the week, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Let me know if you go out and see Morbius, because I want to hear other people's reactions to it. See you on Monday.